welcome back to Movie Review Mom. But if this is the very first time that you're here, a special welcome to you. I'm so glad you discovered my channel. And I've been waiting for you. What took you so long? My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision for you and your family as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a particular film. So that particular film is called Escape the Field. This psychological thriller premieres in select theaters and on digital demand on May 6th, 2022. The movie is rated R and is an hour and 28 minutes. So I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked, didn't like. I'll offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting lines, funny lines if there are any, and no, there aren't, as well as recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that I think you might also like if you like this one. All right, so in a nutshell, Rotten Tomatoes includes this summary of the movie. Quote, "The fear is inescapable and the suspense nonstop in this gripping horror thriller about six strangers who suddenly awaken in a remote, endless cornfield. Stripped of their possessions, they're left with only 6 items, one each: a gun with a single bullet, matches, a lantern, a knife, a compass, and a flask of water. As mysterious sirens blare in the distance and traps appear at every turn, the group realizes it's been plunged into a cat and mouse game with an unseen evil, and survival depends upon solving a diabolical and deadly puzzle." So it sounds like an intense room escape, right? Well, kind of. The survival thriller was directed by Emerson Moore, who also helped write the screenplay. So here is the list of things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, I'm always happy to discover new actors, and I didn't recognize anyone in the cast, so let me know if you did. They include Jordan Claire Robbins, Theo Rossi, Tahira Sharif, Julian Fetter, Elena Huatko, Shane West, and Nikki Caro. I thought that they all did a pretty good job given the script that they were given. The movie itself reminded me of the popular TV series Lost. Did you ever watch that? It has similar mysterious happenings and even a helpful healthcare provider in the cast. I really got sucked into that TV series. For the first few seasons, it was pretty good. And then I think the writers got lost, and the ending of the whole franchise just ended with a big thud. What did you think? So I liked that element of it where I kept watching to see what's happening and what is that, and that kind of thing. It definitely feels more like an escape room kind of experience. At first, I thought just a bunch of monsters was going to chase people around a cornfield. And there is some of that, but there are more interesting puzzles that the people have to figure out and solve, and that keeps things interesting. So if you like solving mysteries and reading codes and all of that kind of stuff, I think you'll really enjoy that element of the movie. I thought some of the clues and things were actually pretty clever. And I'm always impressed with scenes that are filmed at night by fire. And there are a lot of them in this movie because I know that can be really tricky to film. There are several characters that are given more screen time than others, but that's probably a good thing because there were some characters that really annoyed me, and that leads me into some of the things that I didn't like. Some characters are just nicer than others, and so you automatically want to root for them, and others are annoying, and so you hope maybe they're going to die sooner than the other people. No spoilers, I'm just saying. It always frustrates me when characters don't talk to each other about important things that they've seen or experienced. And so it leads to people making really bad, dumb decisions, which is the hallmark of hardcore horror movies, right? So a little bit of that happens in this movie. And this movie doesn't have all of the blood and guts of hardcore horror, but there is some of that as well. Sometimes it's hard to tell what are sound effects and what are elements of the musical score, because you'll hear things pounding or screeching and you're like, are the characters hearing that, or is that just added for dramatic effect. And so there was a little bit of a disconnect if the music is intended to underscore what's happening on the screen. Do you know what I mean? Ultimately, many questions go unanswered, and we're given the idea that there's going to be a sequel, which is something we might not even want. Let me know, comment down below. Is this a movie that you want to see more of? The ending is a bit frustrating without a satisfying resolution. Movies that are kind of like this can wrap part of the story up in a sense, and then there's a little bit more. I've got a perfect example for a movie recommendation, which is the movie Escape Room, right? So they get to the end, they survive. No big spoiler, that movie's been out for a while, and they've even gotten a sequel on that one too. But do you know what I'm saying? Where there was some resolution, and yet part of the story hadn't been finished. And so the sequel made sense, and I liked it. Another movie that I want to recommend is In the Tall Grass. It's a Stephen King novel and movie, and it was available on Netflix in 2019. The stories are very similar, and some people are saying too similar, that this is a knockoff. So again, comment down below. Let me know what you think about that. But first, let me give you some tips for parents. There's a conversation that a lesbian has about her girlfriend. You see some blood, there is some violence, people get hurt, some people die, or at least you think they will. Who knows what's going to happen in a sequel? Some of the themes that are illustrated well in the movie are teamwork, reprogramming, experiments, and talk of government and private testing on humans. And is that what's going on? Uncertainty is certainly a theme, instinct, trust. And I liked all of those, and I thought the movie handled them well. I always write down funny lines and interesting lines and include them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. So I didn't write down any funny lines, though. This is a serious drama from the very beginning to the very end. But I'll share a couple of the interesting lines that I wrote down. One is spoken by Ryan, who's played by Shane West. And he says, "It's all about instinct for me. You got to trust your gut." And so I thought that that was interesting. And one thing I really like about this kind of movies, it makes me wonder, how would I react? What would I do? Would I be smart enough to figure clues out? And by the way, have you ever been to an escape room? I've been several times, and I'm always glad that I go with other people because they see things that I just don't see, and they figure things out that I didn't figure out. And so I definitely would want to stick with the group if I were in this situation. And then there's another line where Sam, who's played by Jordan Claire Robbins, yells, "I'm done playing their game." Of course, she doesn't know who they is, but she's definitely figured out there's some game going on. All right, so there are some good elements. I was intrigued and entertained for a lot of the movie, but then there were a lot of missteps, I think, too. Ultimately, my movie review mom grade is a C+. All right, that's it for my movie review. Thank you so much for visiting my channel and hanging with me for a few minutes. I hope that if you watch this movie that you do get a kick out of it. And when you get a minute, run over to Instagram or Facebook and visit me under Movie Review Mom. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.